Good evening, everybody. How are you? It's Friday evening. I know I'm not normally here on a Friday, but once a month we're doing MIM Revisited. And every time I think of that, I think of Brideshead Revisited, which of course it's not, because we don't have a teddy bear. But yes, so it's MIM Revisited, and this Friday in this month we're visiting or revisiting the Easy Peasy pouch. And this is a really nice one. You know, the size of it, yeah, the shape of it, the fact that when you open it up, it actually opens up quite flat. So you could have, if you're going away for the weekend or maybe just a short break, if you want to take a few bits of makeup with you, or sewing stuff to be fair, it'll sit in there and it opens right up. So it means you can see everything at a glance. So that's what we're doing this evening. Welcome to everybody. I can see, oh, I've got a nice pink colour writing tonight, so I can actually see all the names. I can always see the comments, but not the names. So we've got Kath and Donna and Jane and Jackie. We've got Sally and Denise. We've got Glynis on YouTube. Oh, there, look, Kath's so good. She's put the link already on there for you. If you haven't got this pattern, you know what? If you're doing craft fairs this coming autumn, you know what I'm saying? I know, Christmas, then this is a good pattern to have because they're not difficult. I've done quilting on this, and I'm going to do quilting tonight, just a few little bits, but you don't have to. You can just leave it as it is, so you don't have to complicate it. Putting the zip in couldn't be easier, even though we're on a curve, and we'll go through it as we go through it. I'll give you some hints and tips. And yeah, so it's got the pulls either end, so you can hold the pull and open the zip up. There's nothing worse than not having a pull because you're scrunching up the ends of your fabric and it's not as easy. So the pull is nice because you've got that ease of use. And obviously you could use lovely fabrics. I mean, that is, if you've seen this MIM before, you know this bug fabric, and I think everywhere in the country sold out after I showed it to you all. I think I got mine from Abby originally. But obviously it kind of lends itself to a small ditzy print, but you could also think of tartan, a gingham, stripes, all those sort of things. Oh, I've got a big fly in my room. Go away, Buzzy. Let's hope it buzzes off. Yeah, so thank you, Gemma, for putting the link on there. Hello, Anita. Anita's on YouTube. We've got Joyce as well. Now, I'm not expecting huge numbers tonight, and this is not what this is all about because this is a MIM Revisited, so we better crack on. The pattern is one that's it was February last year, so it's February 2021. So if you go on to like the video tutorials on the website and look for the pattern, it's an older one, but they're all lumped, all the patterns are lumped together now, but the video is MIM 2021, so you can look at that video there, and maybe that will give you as much inspiration perhaps as this one, so you have two to look at, you lucky sausages. So what we've got is a really long zip. I always do a lot longer than I need. Lots of reasons, we'll talk about that as we go along, but it gives me a little bit of flexibility. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. I've suggested in the pattern 18 inches from memory, and that is good memory. But I think you'll probably need to cut it down anyway, and that's fine. Zips are there to be played with, yeah, manipulated, and never be afraid of a zip. They're really easy to put in, especially if you use the right foot on your machine, all that sort of thing. So excuse me. So we needed 2 tabs, so those are my 2 tabs. Now the fabric I'm using tonight, there we are. Can't see it very well, we'll see on the overhead in a sec. Now the fabric I'm using tonight is Riley Blake, and it's Anne of Green Gables, Kindred Spirits. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm not sure if it's really new. I'm not sure. I just found it at the Cozy Cabin, my local quilting shop. I saw it, I loved it. If you want me to flick through I've got a layer cake, but if you want me to flick through so you can see the fabrics, I'm more than happy to do that right at the end. So we've got our 2 tabs, so we'll do those straight away. I need that rule, I've got that one there. And then we need, there's a pattern piece to this, so there's the pattern piece. You'll need 2 lining pieces, 2 outer pieces and 2 pieces of wadding to match. You can, if you want to, make your wadding a little bit smaller so it's not all in the seam and it's bulky, but I'm using H640, which kind of lends itself to a little bit more flexibility, let's put it that way. Regular wadding or batting is fine. If you want to just use H250, that's fine. Any stabilizer that you love to use, we're not here to judge you for your stabilizer. Yeah, so we've got all the pieces cut out ready. We'll do it as we go along, but look at that fabric. I just want you to admire that. Oh. And there's 2 or 3 colourways of this in the layer cake. It's beautiful. I was quite surprised. I'm not a great keen fan of Riley Blake. It can be quite samey, but this was different. So yeah, I'm super impressed. So this is the pattern that you'll get with the pouch on the front. I do believe our Kath rejigged this, because the one I have on my file is quite an old one, so it's still got the green heart on the front, because we were still in the early days of making it Monday, so we had the green heart, which was print heavy. So now I think we've kind of made it a little bit neater. So hopefully that's what you'll get. I didn't check, to be honest, but I'm pretty sure that's what you get. So we're going to follow the pattern, and I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to do the little tags, you know, the little tabs, I should say, not tags. So I've got my little tabs here. Oh dear me. And funny enough, I looked at the older video today. I'm going to move my iron out of the way. I looked at my older video today just to sort of just to see what it came across as and like, and the light was a bit funny on it, so maybe this is going to be a better video. So your 2 tabs, usual thing, you're going to fold them in half and give them a nice crease down the center, and then you're going to fold those long edges to that center crease. So just fold them in the middle. Now because, and I said this actually in the original video, because I'm using a wool mat, sometimes it's better to leave these to cool off a little bit, because they are super hot, so you might want to do that. And then we're going to fold again. So, see, very hot. And if you've got a clapper, which I haven't got, mine's not handy, you could pop that on the top and that will keep it lovely and flat, and it's perfect for then stitching. It just makes it so much easier. So again, one long edge into the center, the second long edge into the center, and then fold again. And this is really when you could do with your stiletto or something just to hold that, because it's so super hot. I'm going to turn my iron down anyway. So let's pop that to one side. So now these are ready for stitching. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to follow the pattern. So I will stitch these now, and then we'll carry on with the rest. And I have to say, it's the quilting next, so we have to do a little bit of drawing. So I'll just bring my machine in. Now tonight, Matthew, I'm using my older Juki. So let's just move you over. There we go. I was finding my really beautiful, I love it more than anything in the world, UX8. I find it sometimes a little bit heavy to move around for demonstrations. So now, is that on or off? That was on. So I brought out my old Juki, and I have to say this is such a wonderful machine. And it doesn't have all the gadgets and gizmos as my other one, but it absolutely whizzes along. And it behaves itself. Not that my UX doesn't behave itself, it does. So come down to the bottom, it doesn't do a lift up. That's the thing, you see, you get so used to the presser foot lifting up, kind of spoils you a little bit sometimes, I think. There we go, but it does cut. So there's one done. So that's looking really super duper neat. There we go. So hello to Jill. Yes, I love this little foot as well, Jill. Oops, oh dear. It's a zipper foot, but I don't know, it's something about it. I suppose you can see more of your fabric and what you're doing, maybe. I don't know. Strange thing. Hello to Dawn as well. Hope you're all okay. I hope you're not too hot. It's like an oven in my room because I've got about 4 big lights on me. So we'll just trim the ends, make them nice and neat. So there we are. So that's what you're looking at there. That's what you want to sort of aim for. And you want to just bring those together. And if you want to, just to keep them nice and neat and together, you could just baste across the bottom. Oops, sorry. Just baste across the bottom just to hold them together. And when you do that, when you do stitch them together, put your needle right in the centre there. Put your needle right in the centre there and come forward and then go back and come back to the centre. If you start on the edge, you'll probably find that they'll go like that. They'll exaggeration, but they will twist. So put your needle in the centre. And what you could do is, if you wanted to, you could physically put the needle in so you know it's in the right place. And then, oh, do you know what? That slipped. Isn't it marvellous? That has slipped. Just look at that. I want to show you. It just shows that slipped. But I'll live with that. I'll live with that. I'm not bothered. So we'll go back to the overhead again, because this is now when we're going to just do that little bit of drawing. So if you are following along tonight, how lovely. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you can keep up. I'm not going to go super fast, but you know, I'm just going to sort of go for it. We're going to do 2-inch wide strips, if you like, for quilting. You can go smaller. This would lend itself to a smaller bit of quilting. So, you know, enjoy it. Whatever you do, enjoy it. So I'm putting my 2-inch line on the line that I've just drawn. Try and keep it straight. So top and bottom are sitting on the line. I mean, you could plan this so your squares, your diamonds in effect, will be right in the centre. And I was looking at one of Adrienne's bags the other day, and her diamond was absolutely in the centre, and I thought, oh, she really thought about that. She didn't take after her mummy at all. Because I just kind of go for it. I think if anybody says, oh my goodness, you haven't got your diamond in the centre, well, there'll be no cups of tea for them, that's for sure. So you're just coming back, and like I say, you're just, if you know you want to, you can extend your ruler and get your lines drawn. So that's the sort of thing you're aiming for. You might want to do it slightly differently. You might want to get these angles slightly differently, but I mean, it's not bad. But you can see that's not lined up, but I'm not worried about it. So, you know, for the point of the demonstration, but what you could do, you could line up your 45-degree angle here and pop that on the straight of your, you can see, look, the straight of the raw edge there and the 45-degree, and you could do it that way. Shall we do it that way on this side so you can see what that looks like? So you're always getting your 45-degree line on the raw edge as best you can. Probably could do with a bigger ruler when I'm doing this. So hold on, let's just make sure I've got my 2 inches. Let's do it that way. I want the 45-degree. So my 45-degree is down here now, but I could move it. But like I say, this is probably when you want a bigger ruler. As long as you keep your 2-inch line exactly where you So you're lining it up. It's just a continuous line. You'll be fine. And really, we don't really need that one, but we'll pop it in anyway. Okay, so we've got stripes going that way. So now we can flick that around. So you really want the 45 degree up here now. So you've got to think about that. Let's do it like that. 2 inches again. Let's get it so we've got it meeting just here at the bottom. Again across. I mean, once you've drawn one line, you're good to go then, aren't you? And this is where you'll get the squares. So let's just, I don't think I can get another one in, look, no. But then we've got the squares on that side and we've got the diamonds on that side. So it depends on the angle of how you're putting your ruler down as to what you get. But I'll leave it as it is. That'd be quite interesting to have one different to the other. Look at that fabric. Isn't it glorious? Really lovely. Really lovely. Anyway, so now we're just going to pop that under the machine. Now what I would do is I would increase your stitch length to at least 3, if not 4. Okay, let's just move you across. It's going to make it a quick stitch. I'll put mine just beyond the 3. But also, you're quilting, so it's nothing structural. So it doesn't matter that your stitch length is long. And we're just going to work our way across. Oh, I keep cutting my threads. I'm not used to this machine. The thread cutter is on the heel of the foot control. So I'll try and keep and obviously I've got my wadding on the back. I have got my wadding on the back. Sorry, I didn't say that before. Yeah, so I quite like this process. It's quite nice to do. Quite relaxing because you're following lines, whatever your lines you've drawn. I mean, you could go crazy and draw flowers, and that would look nice. And it's always best, if you can, to keep your stitching going the right way. So we've started at the top and we've come down to the bottom here. I haven't turned, even though it's all under the machine here, I haven't turned it. So this time we're going from the straight edge up. Oh, hold on, no we're not. Going on the straight edge up. Hold on, let me move this foot control. That's it. So now we're just going to go straight across. I just need to do that one on the end. And we'll do this as easily as we can. Because of course if you're making these for craft fairs, it won't take you long at all to make a few of these. You could sell them for at least £10, I think, minimum. They're going to be fully lined, no raw edges, so there we are. So there's the first one done. You can see what that looks like on the back, and we'll iron those lovely lines away in a sec. So again, we'll start from the top, so a different angle this time. And we'll just work our way through. Just follow the lines. It couldn't be any easier. You know, if you say, oh, you know, I've never done quilting before, this couldn't be any easier. And if you were quilting, if you'd made a little lap quilt or something like that, or a cushion front or anything like that, just do yourself a grid and do this sort of quilting. Right, so now we're going to go on this side and do our opposite line. And again, gosh, I'm so used to having a foot lift up thingy. Don't we get spoilt sometimes with our gadgets? I love it though. I think we should be spoilt. Do you have a wish list of what you would like on your machines? There we go. And there's the back. So you can see what that looks like, okay? So we're just going to iron those creases out, not the creases, the lines. So I'll concentrate on what I'm doing in a minute. Let's just move you over. Gosh, it's so warm, isn't it? Now look, if on Monday, it's supposed to be about 40 degrees here, which you'll probably have seen in the news if you live in this sort of area. I'm in East Anglia, in Suffolk. We're probably going to have 40-degree heat. Well, if that's the case, I may cancel the Making It Monday on Monday. I'll wait until it's a cooler evening, or maybe do it in the morning or something like that. Not on the Monday because I'm too busy loading the pattern up on the website. So do you see now how that looks? It just lifts it, yeah? And then on the back, doesn't that look lovely? And of course it just makes sure that your wadding is definitely attached to your outer piece. It's really nice. And then on this one we've got diamonds, just to be different. But it's good actually because it shows you actually you can do your own designs. You don't have to stick with what somebody tells you or what. There we are, look, there's the diamonds. Oh, do you know what, that is so hot. So while you're there, I'm going to turn the iron off. While you're there, just check the pattern, and we're going to put the zip in. Now we're going to do the outer and the lining at the same time. I've got a length of zip, but I haven't got my zip slider on, so I'm going to put my zip slider on now. And I'm sure you've seen me do this a gazillion times. I'll end up opening the whole zip, but just to keep it neat and tidy, I'll just open up one end. And we're just going to take, I suppose, about maybe ½ an inch off the end. It doesn't have to be as long as that. It's whatever is comfortable for you. Okay, so that's comfortable for me. And you're taking the fat end of the zip. So I always think the zip looks like a frog. I don't know why, but that's what I think. So when you look at it like that, and it's perhaps a bit small for you, this is the fat end. So you're putting the fat end on the left-hand side first. So I just try and get hold of that. If you want some good zips, go to Zipper Station. They have some lovely zips by the meter, and nice zip pulls as well. Really nice shape and big enough to add your own little pull or something like that. So once that's on, all you're going to do is latch that one in. Now sometimes I twist it, sometimes I just roll it, sometimes I don't. Depends, just depends how I feel about it really. So you're just going to shove it in. Now sometimes you'll hear it click and other times it will just go in. I'm not going to guarantee anything because sometimes these zips have a mind of their own. And I'm just holding both ends and just threading that on. Let's try it that way. It's like I say, it's whatever is easiest for you. And sometimes doing it this way is easier. I've just got a funny feeling this isn't going to go on. I just need a quiet moment. Let's try it again. Come on, Lizzie, you can do it. It's like everything, isn't it? When you're not being watched, it just goes. When you know you're being watched, it won't. So let's try that again. It's there, it just doesn't want to behave. Hold on. Let's just start again. It's good that you see these sort of things. And don't worry, I'm not anxious at all. We just take a deep breath. So we're putting the fat end on. You know when we should have done a bit of Blue Peter? For those that don't know Blue Peter, who might be overseas, It was a children's programme, and their catchphrase was always, "This is one I've done earlier." I tell you what, if this doesn't work, I haven't got a zip to go to, because I always use zip on a roll. How bizarre! Right, I tell you what, let's just go to the front camera just for a moment, just so you can see me struggle. Isn't it funny how I must admit, oh, I wonder if I've got the right zip for the right zip slider. I'm pretty sure I have. You know, when you don't sort of engage brain. So let's just try and do that again. Isn't it weird? Talk amongst yourselves. Don't worry about me. I'm not at all anxious. How funny. And yet, any other time, you just put it on. And today it won't. So let's just keep on going. I hope there's a lot of sympathy out there. Try the other end. I will, Jill. I was just thinking that. Let's try the other end. Perhaps the coils go on a certain way. I have to say I've never had this done to me before. I've always got them on first time. Yeah, so where have I got lots of sympathy? Go, Lizzie, go. If not, we'll have to. We'll have to have press studs. Oh dear, got it on. Can I have a round of applause, please? I think I deserve it. I wonder why that was. And maybe it's because it should have been on the other end. Who knows? I don't know about that. I haven't learned that one end of the zip is any different to the other end. Maybe that is something we have learned this evening. Right, we're going to put the lining on and the outer as well. Yes, we've got a round of applause. Yes. Right, let's just go to the overhead. I'm going to use my super duper pins, and I'm going to pin everything, so make sure it all goes in place. Now, you can, if you want to, clip the zip so it goes round. I'm getting lots of rounds of applause. Yay! Go, Lizzie, go! And we're putting the right side of our zip that has the teeth and a bit cut out onto the right side of our outer, yeah? And I'm just going to stick it over the end a bit. Now, like I say, what you could do is snip into the zip here to make it go round the curve a little bit better. Now, I'm not suggesting for a minute that you snip too far in, okay? You only want a little bit snipped. So try that. If you've ever struggled with putting a zip on a curve, snip into it. There's no reason why you can't snip. Now, somebody said to me a few weeks back, but surely the zip phrase, well, I wouldn't know because that's on the inside and we're going to stitch it and we're not going to see it. We're not, absolutely not snipping up to the teeth. I would say we're only snipping 1/8 of an inch. Oh, blimey. I'll edit that bit out. No, I won't. I wonder, I'm going to find out, is one end of the zip different to the other? Yeah, anyway, so now what we've done is we've snipped, and can you see it allows you to bend that around, and we can easily then put it on our wonderful project, and we'll put some pins in. I'm going to put the lining on in a sec. So now we can just trace this around. Now, you could be really gung-ho and not pin this at all, and that is perfectly fine. And probably if you weren't watching, I would do that. And I think in the original video, I don't pin, I just go for it. But times have changed. Have you noticed as you, well, you're probably not as old as me, but have you noticed as you get older, you get a little bit, what's the word? Not as careful, maybe it's not being as careful, or I don't think you're as accurate. I certainly, when my mum, well, she's in her 80s, but she used to say to me, I can't sew like I used to. Well, you know, she did pretty good. So there's the zip pinned to the outer, and then we're just going to put our lining over the top. So we're going to make a sandwich. So just make sure everything is lined up. So you can see that I've used a layer cake there, and it was just a wee bit big for the layer cake, so I cut it back a bit. I did trim it back a bit. So just make sure that you've got that sandwiched. And really what we want to achieve is when we come back to this end, that everything is lying nicely on top of each other, and of course you can trim it if it's a bit dodgy looking, but let's try and get it so it sits on top. Now a walking foot is good if you're doing multiple layers, but your seam allowance wouldn't be as small as if you use a zipper foot. So do use your zipper foot. They look a little bit frightening, but actually they're your friend. The other thing is, when we're doing it like a sandwich, looks like a Cornish pasty now, doesn't it? Well, when we're making a sandwich like this, you can't see the zip, but you can feel it. So what I'm trying to say is this: if you stitch from the right side of the zip, so you can see the teeth, your zipper foot will naturally follow the side of the teeth, okay? If you stitch from the other side, the teeth aren't so prominent, so it's better to stitch here on this side than the other, okay? So I'm just going to pin that to hold that there. So we're just going to whiz around there, okay? 1/4 inch or so. I mean, 3/8 actually is good for a zip. So if you can work out 3/8, that's not a bad measurement. So we'll pop it under there. Try and get that zip straight at the end. Let's take that pin out because that's annoying me. So just bring that end round. Sorry, my hand is in the way. So you're just bringing that end round, making sure it's sitting nice and tidily. So foot down. Oh, we want to take the stitch length down to 2.4 again, 2.5. And then we're just going to work our way around. And you've got to trust that your foot isn't going to go over the teeth. Now, you can see the teeth are quite prominent. That's why we stitch with the right side showing. So you've got to trust that your zipper foot will follow the line of your teeth of your zip. But also, I mean, if you stick to about 3/8 of an inch, you should be about right. So be brave. And I have to say, doing one layer at a time, so doing your outer first and then your lining, is actually a very, very good way of keeping accurate. So you're not stitching over pins. You're just following that round. And actually this is a good one for you if you've never stitched curves, you know, you've never stitched a zip onto curves. It's a good one for you. So just make sure when you get to the bottom here, do you see how that zip wants to kick out to the right, but my pouch is over here. So I need to just tell it to come around. And that's where pinning and clipping will always help. So just come around. Try and keep everything straight. There we go. Now if you want to at this stage, you could press that. So, sorry, press it and top stitch it. And because we've got a nice long length of zippage, you see how that looks? Nice and neat, isn't it? If I show you the top, how that looks. You might want to go a little bit nearer. Some people like to go right up to the teeth. I don't recommend it because you do want the zip slider to move quite freely. But the other thing is, if you do want to top stitch, because we've got a nice long piece of zippage, it means that you can open that up quite nicely and top stitch all the way around there if you want to. Okay, so I haven't on either, both pouches are not top stitch, so I'll stick to the plan. But it's a good idea to press that out, really is a good idea. Right, oh, Kath has posted the link again. Thank you, Kath. So what we'll do is we'll pin the other side. We'll be good today. Seeing as how we've had zip slider issues, let's not take any chances. So what we're going to do now is right sides together again. So just as we did before, I'm going to get my zip slider out of the way, and that's another reason why pretty much I always use a longer piece of zip. If you're buying a zip, it's ever so expensive, but if you get zip on a roll, it's not as expensive, and it allows you to cut a little bit longer, so, which means you can get that zip slider completely out of the way. It's smashing, really is. Now the main thing here is to get everything lined up. So you want, so where these pieces are lined up here, so our lining on our outer, we want this outer piece to be the same. So we want it to start here. Do you see? Just there. So just make sure that you flip those over and you get those lined up, and then you can pin from there. Okay, so what I'll do this time, I haven't snipped into this and it's not as easy, so let's just give it a quick snip, not too much, because it's just time consuming for you guys. And you can see I'm just 1/2 inch in between, 1/8 of an inch in, no more. If you think about your seam allowance is about 3/8 of an inch, thereabouts, it's not measure, you're easily going to, oops, catch that in the seam, no bother. So just work your way around. There we go, that wasn't so long this time. Yep, so like I say, right sides together. Sorry, let's get it so I'm not talking gibberish. Right sides together, so the right side of the zip is facing up, the right side of your outer is down, and we're just lining those up. And what we'll do is, at the same time, we will put the lining on. So again, we're sewing the curve is the zip, this is the bottom. So we'll just line those up like that. And just put a few pins in, because like I said before, the main thing is that we want these ends here to be the same. So come round to the other side and line these up. That way when you come to the end, you know that they're going to meet. Okay, and then you can work the rest of it in. So we'll just put a few pins in. Put one in the middle. If you want to open the zip up, if you think that will be easier for you to stitch, then you know you've got all that zippage to do that. But just be careful of the end that doesn't have the zip slide, you know, that you're pulling away from. This end is fine, you've got lots of zip to play with. On the other end, we've only got a short bit. Obviously we could have made it longer, so just be careful if you do come round here that you don't come off the end, and you can always stitch that up across. So again, we're going to go from the outer piece, so you can see where we've got it quilted, because the right side of the zip is what's showing, and that's what your zipper foot is going to follow. Now I haven't done so much pinning this time, so I'll just be careful as I go around to make sure that I catch all my layers properly. Just make sure you start off well with everything straight. There we go. Do a back stitch if you want, but all of this is going to be caught into seam, so I'm not bothered. Just work your way around as before. Try not to stretch any of this. The outer shouldn't stretch because you've got the wadding, but the lining piece might stretch, so just be aware of that. So just make your way around. Now when you get to there, which is about a third of the way, you could, if you wanted to, open this all up. So let's see if we can do that. I don't know if we can because I've got the pins in the way. Let's see if I can. Let's lift my foot up. So all I'm doing is undoing my zip. And once you've done that, you've got a little bit more leeway because all of this other side is out of the way. Let's just do that. There we go. It's out of the way now. So it's over here. You can't see it, but it's completely out of the way. So let's just follow that around again. And like I said before, just make sure that zip stays in there. I think I've just gone off that a little bit, so I need to rectify that. I could feel it because I couldn't feel the edge of my zip teeth. So I knew I'd come off a little bit. So let's just tuck that in. So can you see now how useful it is to pin, because it saves any errors, saves you unpicking. So I'm just coming to that end there now when I've got that pin in, so I'm going to take that out because it means I can open it all up, lay my zip down, get my lining and my outer all lined up, and just come around to the end. There we are. Lovely. I must show you that layer cake. It's so pretty. Just line it up and just come off the end. And I'm pretty sure I need to re-look at this bit here. Oh, it's not too bad. I was just looking to see if I hadn't caught that, but actually it's not too bad. I thought I'd come right off, but I think it's acceptable. So now I can do that zip up if I want to. There we go. But don't come off the end. So you can see what that looks like. It's not bad, but it would be better with a press. Once you've pressed it, it makes all the difference. So let's just give it a little press. Move that out the way, bring the iron in, get my little mat. Obviously I've got a cutting mat here, so I protect it at all times with my little woolen mat and the silicone mat. It's amazing because the heat transfers through really well. That the silicone mat doesn't retain the heat, it goes through. So I've opened it up, as you can see, and I'm just going to give that a little press. Now do be careful of your zip, okay? You don't want to damage your zip in any way if you've got this on a high heat. And this is a good time to press because you can open it right up. Can you see how that looks? And just sort of get that lining out of the way. Isn't that glorious? That fabric is, oh, so delicious. I'm so pleased I saw it. It was a sort of a last minute thing. I bought loads of stuff because next month in MIM and in my gold group, the theme is beach. So I was looking for beach fabrics, and then as I was going out the door, I saw this. I thought, oh, this is so pretty. Okay, so that's how it looks now. So we can zip that up. There we go. And what we can do is trim the ends of the zip. So I'm going to trim it. I'm going to trim that zip away. Make sure I've got my lining correctly placed. So that's how it should look. Okay, but we're going to trim that zip away, but I'm also going to stitch across it to reinforce it. So we'll just give that a trim. That's how it looks. And at the other end, obviously, we can just put it together like that, because we can't use our zip slider. Just make sure they are lined up and just snip across. Okay, So we're going to pop it under the machine, and we're just going to bring the ends of the zips together and stitch across, can you see? And then we're going to put the tabs on top of the zips as well. But you could do it at the same time. You could put the tab across there and stitch, but you know, the tab and the zip ends at the same time. But it's probably more beneficial to do one at a time, just in case you don't get the zip teeth close together, because that's tricky, that's easy. Yeah. So, and at this stage, don't pull any of that because this will all come undone. So just be very, very careful with how it looks and how you handle it, basically. Okay, so let's just take it over to the machine and stitch the ends, and we'll stitch the tabs in as well. So let's just bring it in so you can see. So I'm opening it up, so my lining, let me show you this way. So my lining is open like this. My camera could do with a better angle. So I'm opening out, so my lining is open and my outer is open and flat, and I'm just going to go over the ends. Once I've done that, I start to feel a little bit more comfortable with handling it, because I've secured the end of the zip. So let's just rethread my dookie. The trouble with this machine, it pops the thread. The thread pops out sometimes when you've been stitching. Oh, it's done it again, see? This machine does have a needle threader, and I think I've threaded it once using it, but really it's so difficult. I don't know why that would be. So there we go. So I'm just going to secure that. You can see what that looks like. Okay, now I'm going to put my tab over the top of that, and I'm going to stitch that on now. So all you're doing is laying your tab over the end, like that, and we're just going to stitch across to hold that tab in place. Okay, but you're only stitching on the zip, you're not stitching on the fabric, so you're just stitching the tab and the zip tape. You are not stitching on any of this outer fabric or lining. Okay, that's I could do with zooming you out a little bit really, but I'll leave it as it is. So that's what you're aiming for, and all I've stitched on is the zip tape. I haven't stitched on the fabric at all. There we are, that's better. So on the other end, of course, we have the dilemma of these two ends that we need to bring together. So I suggest you put the needle in one and then you offer the other one up. You just want to make sure that your zip ends are the same length, otherwise you'll end up with a little pucker. So let's just snip that back. So I don't think that was quite the same, so bear with. There we go. So if I bring that up now, you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to put those together. So let's just open that up. So what I'm going to do is, so I haven't got my lining anywhere near my zip tape. I haven't got my outer piece anywhere near my zip tape. But what I've done is I put my needle into that one half. And then I'm going to bring up the other half to hold it. Now you could use your stiletto here. So let's see if I get the right end. Yeah. So you could use tweezers or your stiletto. Be very careful that you don't break a needle because you've got your stiletto there. But you're just offering that up, being very, very gentle. A few little back stitches, and there's your zipper teeth brought together. Okay, so now we're going to, oh, Angela says she puts her tweezers. Yes, it's such a good idea, Angela, putting your getting your tweezers on this to hold everything, because otherwise you're going to end up, oops, broke a needle. You're going to end up with, let me just take you back to the front camera just for a moment. It's one of those evenings, isn't it? Somebody out there has got it in for me tonight, so I just need to find my screwdriver. Let's see if I can find it. I did have it earlier. I had my walking foot on here and I thought, oh, well, as much as it's handy, it's not really what I want. Right, where is it? Only I could have a plastic bag. I have got a great big black one, a screwdriver, which is marvellous. It's absolutely perfect. But can I find it? Can I heck? So while I just take this needle out, talk amongst yourselves again. Let's see if we can find a needle. I might have to go off and get one. And I'm all mic'd up, so that'll be interesting. Be back in a minute. Let's have a look. 14. That'll do. I'd have preferred a 12. Okay, back now. That's the end of that one. And these go in on the side. So all other machines, well, pretty much, the flat goes to the back, but with the Juki, it goes to the side. If I can get it in. This is where you need really good glasses. Just put the foot down, it might be easier. Perhaps it goes in that way. Oh no, perhaps it goes to the back. Don't think it does. Oh yes, it does. Oh dear me. Right. I mean, it's like everything, isn't it? You'll sit at your machine and you'll perhaps break a needle or use the wrong foot or unthread it like we've done tonight. I think everything that could have gone wrong tonight has gone wrong, but that's okay. So, back to where we were. Walking foot. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to sew my tab on. So just as we did before. So let's just have a little look at that. John has borrowed my screwdriver. No, actually he won't have done. It's somewhere in my room, and it's one of those things. It's a bit like my iPhone watch thingy. I've seen it, and I've kind of acknowledged the fact that I've seen it, and then not picked it up and put it somewhere safe where I would know where it was. And it's the same with my screwdriver. I've seen it because it's such a big thing, big black thing. It's super. Okay, so there's the other end stitched on. You can see again we've just stitched it onto the tape. So that's all we've done. Now the next stage, she'll bring you to the overhead again. It's the same place as Abby's mouse. I think she threw that away by mistake. I really do. So there we are. So we've got our tabs on, okay? And we're still in a position where you've got your ends looking like this, okay? Both ends. So open up the zip, because you'll need to later. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring our right sides together. Okay, so this is where you've got to concentrate, because you want to bring your outer pieces right sides together. Your lining is already right sides together. You just got to bring your outer pieces. So you're going to just sort of manipulate it a little bit. So we want to stitch our straight edges. Okay, so there's our lining. So we turn it so it looks like that. Okay, so we're going to stitch our straight edges. Now on the outer, we're stitching all the way across. On the lining, we're going to leave a turning gap of about 3 inches. So if I was to pin this, which is pretty rare, and don't forget to use double pins to remind yourself to stop. 1 pin just means that you're just stitching. A double pin means a stop start. Okay. Right, so let's do a little bit of a bigger. That's not too bad. It's about 3 inches, isn't it? So don't forget a double pin, and you know you've got a stop start there. So we're going to stitch all the way along there and all the way along there, and then we'll go on to the next stage. Okay, so let's just bring the machine in and bring you on camera as well. There you go. So let's start with the lining. I'm going to hold on to my thread. Look, it's got the tiniest of threads. I'm getting a bit nervous now. So you're still doing 1/4 inch seam allowance. This time I'm going to do a little back stitch. And just come up to your double pins, little back stitch, break your threads. Come over to the other side, 1/4 inch roughly, little back stitch just to secure, and then over to the end and cut. And then what we're going to do is the straight edge on the other side. So we're going to go all the way along here, little back stitch, all the way along. You can tell how fast this machine is. It's the fastest domestic machine on the market. It's semi-industrial, but it's super, super speedy. That's why I bought it. But it only does a straight stitch. So there we are. So there's our bottom seam done, and then we're doing our top seam with our gap. Now this is where we have to concentrate, guys. So I'm going to do this on the overhead. It's a little bit too near on the side view, so I'll just bring you in. There we go. And gosh, it's nearly time to go home. 2 minutes to 8. It's because I've had to change a needle. Anyway, so what you're doing is you're bringing your seams across to the middle. So you know where your zip is. You can see it. If I show it to you this way, that might. Oh, I keep forgetting we're on the overhead. Do it like this. You can see there's my zip there, and you're just bringing this bottom seam. And if you want to, you can open it up. So your bottom seam is on the centre of your zip, and the corners of your cutouts will be your corner edges. Okay, so that will look like that. And obviously we need just to manipulate it a bit. So your bottom seam is now in the centre of your zip, and you're going to do the same on the other side. So your lining and your outer fabric. So you've got quite a few layers going on, and it's quite fiddly. So just be aware of that. Just pop your finger in there to open that all up, and you're kind of making a. You're boxing the corners, but you're doing it all at the same time. So what you'll have is that's what your lining looks like, and if we flip this over, open that up a bit, that's what your outer looks like. Okay, and we're going to stitch across there. So what I'll do is I'll pin it, or I might use a clip, bear with, because there's quite a lot of layers. So just clip all those together. You've got to be careful, obviously, because you've got your zip in there, so be mindful of your machine. And then the same again, you're just popping your fingers in there and you're opening up your, just think of it as a boxy corners you would normally do. So you're opening this up so your cut squares or cut corners end up being on the outside edge like that. And that bottom seam is right over the top of that zip. Flip it over, get your finger in there again, get that center seam over your zip, but bring those corners out. And you'll have two boxy corners sitting on top of each other. So you've got a good sort of layer going on there, and just clip it. There we go. So you've got a sort of a sandwich going on, okay? And you want to stitch from there to there, and you're going to stitch through all the layers. So just make sure everything is sitting nicely on top of each other. Get it nice and flat and straight, and we're going to stitch right across, okay? So let's get the machine in again. Okay. So I think the first thing to do is just to make sure that you've got everything sitting on top of each other, and do a good 1/4 inch seam allowance. So a nice little back stitch, take the clip out. Just make sure, I'm going to get my pokey tool, just make sure your corners are coming out and your lining as well. There we go. And don't forget, you've got a lot of layers and you've got the zip. So just take your time as you go over all of those layers and then back stitch. Okay, so that's one, and you could, if you wanted to, just neaten that off a little bit so it's a bit tidier. Oh, sorry, there we are. So you've gone all the way across both sides, and then you're going to do the same the other side. So just make sure those corners are sitting nicely. If you get the first bit lined up, get your needle down, and then you can go in with your pokey tool and bring this corner out and that corner out, and you should be fine. Just mind your zip as you go across. You can feel my machine going over it. Little back stitch. And like I say, if you want to, you can just trim that away so it's a little bit neater. Okay. Right. So let's turn it through. See what happens. So don't forget to stitch your turning gap. Yep. There we go. Let's get it the right way around straight away. Push out your corners so you can see what they look like. Really neat. Could have been lined up better. But like I say, if anybody points those things out to you, they're not the person that's going to get your pouch. So obviously, like I said, give it a nice press, and there is your pouch made. Beautiful, isn't it? And if I open it up, you can see that we definitely have to stitch that turning gap. You know how to do that. You don't need me to show you, but I'll just pin it. I will stitch it. I use nearly everything that I make. Well, not everything, because that'd be crazy, but when I go away in the motorhome, I can't tell you how many bags of my own I've got. So there's your pouch. So there's your pouch. So although we had a few hiccups, we got there, didn't we? Nobody's panicked. Nobody's got ill because of it. Right, do you want to see that fabric? Let me get it. So don't forget, this is the Riley Blake, and it's the Anne of Green Gables. There we go. So I'll just whiz through that. Just move that out of the way a little bit. There we go. So this is what drew me. This is on the top, so this is what drew me to it. And you do get a few of each. I haven't counted. Maybe 4, maybe 3. Lovely, lovely ditzy print. I nearly used that blue. Lovely stripe. That would make a great lining. See the pink Same again. So we've got 3 of each, haven't we? And then that's the lining I used. Really lovely. Then the stripe. Look at that. Got a teapot, cup and saucer. That's the green colourway. Then we got the grey tone, which goes with the green, doesn't it? So I'll be using this over the next few months. So pretty, really pretty. Oh look, and there's the print that I used in the pink, but with the green, they've got the flowers on there, just made it slightly different. Oh, look at that, it's gorgeous. I love that colour green, really appeals to me. That's lovely as well, you can see better. You've got the book, the tea cup and saucer, got a sun hat there, look, teapot, little birdies, little tweeties, little rabbit there, look, just spotted him. Oh, that's lovely. Green stripe. So you can see why I was drawn to it. It's really lovely, really lovely. Yeah, so pretty. Look at that, just gorgeous, isn't it? Anyway, the pattern doesn't quite, if I bring that in, you can see me just take one piece. So what I suggest, if you use a layer cake, which is quite useful, I would reduce your pattern in size by about, I don't know, not even, perhaps 10%, or perhaps not as much as that. But it goes right up to the edge, but we've got a tiny little piece missing, which isn't so bad, is it? Look, when you look at it like that, it's not so bad. I mean, if you didn't have directional fabric, you could go on the bias. Yeah. So there we are. That is our make for making it Monday, revisiting on a Friday, and that's our lovely little pouch. We had a few hiccups, but that's okay. And in my gold group this week, we're posting pictures of our whoops moments. So I've asked everybody to go and grapple in their bins and get all their whoops moments out and show them to us. And if we can help and revive it, we will. If it's unrevivable, which mine was, I have to say, something else, not this, then perhaps we have to be honest and say, okay, there's really not much you can do with that. But it happens, doesn't it? It's life. So thank you very much for staying with me there. Oh, Sue says this was one of her first mims and it's adorable. Yes, it is adorable, Sue. I think sometimes it's the fabric, isn't it, that kind of makes you sing, like the little bug fabric we used in the very first one. I think that's the one it is the one in the pattern. And then that gorgeous Riley Blake. I absolutely love it. Oh, you're going to see a few of those projects. Making it Monday on Monday is still Christmas. That's why I haven't dismantled my set. Assuming it's not like 40 plus degrees. If it's 40 degrees in this room, it ain't going to happen. So we can work it out at the time. So I'll let you know, guys. But thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute treat. I'm sorry we had a little bit of sort of a hiccup here and there. I don't mind. But you know, I know some people will get cross, or they'll come up with wonderful solutions of what I could have done. That happens a lot. Don't forget when Abigail is doing her Sunday social, I think on Saturday at 7, because it's not going to be as hot as. So if you are an Abigail fan, her Sunday social is Saturday at 7. In the meantime, have a lovely, lovely weekend. Do something fabulous for yourselves, and I will see you on Monday. Bye, everybody.